didn't go without some skirmishes here in Lagos, particularly in the Magodo Brooks estate, when the team of the State Commissioner of Police, Hakeem Odumosu, clashed with guards stationed at the estate gate. The police commissioner, who was angered by the attitude of the guards for delaying him in getting access to the estate for a function, ordered their arrest and detention. But officials of the Magodo Brooks Residential Association have apologized to Mr. Odumosu over the rift. In a letter, the chairman of the Board of Trustees, Ayola Lawson, explained that the guards didn't mean to embarrass him, and that's how we begin the program today. So there had been gentlemen back and forth between the police PRO and the estate leadership. But what do you make of this, Olabisi, when you look at the back and forth? There does seem to have been a breakdown in communication. But first things first, all seem to you.
Communication, first of all, because I think that if the Commissioner of Police was to attend a function in the estate, at least the security people ought to have been informed beforehand. I also saw a case of, I look at the two accounts of the estate residents and that of the police PRO. I could see that the issues here are clearly that of probably security guards trying to defer to the estate management that employed them, and a police commissioner that felt highly embarrassed that he wasn't given the right recognition at the point of entrance at that particular point in time. Even though the two sides try to give us the impression that, well, for the estate, they didn't want to let us know that probably the security delayed the commissioner more than what should have been appropriate. And also the police side do not want us to believe that the police commissioner acted to, used its power against the resident. But if you look closely, you can see that both of them heard one way or the other. Both sides try to overdo in one way or the other. Because I expected the security guards to have got in touch even with the estate management, that probably they saw some powerful movements at the gates, which they may not understand, and you see, they could be afraid that probably some of the estates, the landlords, are to be arrested because they may not be used to that kind of high level of official movement. So they may want to probably get a clarification. And because the management of the estates were probably not aware that the police commissioner was coming there, they too might also like to make some inquiries, which could have resulted in the delay that was experienced before the gates were opened for the police commissioner, and that kind of a thing. So it's bad, but at the same time, I would have expected the police commissioner to exercise some kind, because as a leader, I've loved a situation where he could have managed it better, such that people are not arrested, even though the basis for arresting them, the police, they can have a reason for every form of arrest.
All right. Well, that said, Mayor, what is it like to you? First, an issue, and this has also, pitted the polity or divided the polity somewhat. Many are backing the police chief for his actions, whether he was on a social visit. The fact that in his capacity as a police chief coming into an estate, the police calls it a public place. The residents call it, something else, that it is a private, estate. A number of dignitaries reside there. But for you, Madam Bisi has said that both sides erred. How is it for you?
I want to differ a little. I think maybe because of the NSAS, we seem to have lost our respect for constituted authority, because it is irresponsible of those security guards to stop the commissioner of police from accessing any estate, because that is the man in charge of security in this state. But you see, when it is different, if it comes in a private capacity, is driving a car, they can say we don't know him. You understand? And that is the reason for that. Somebody was coming with full complement of guards and outrider, and he gets to a gate of an estate, and he explained to them that this is the commissioner of police, and they said they cannot access the place unless is that when because of this our law for freedom and fundamental rights and all that, we do things that we don't look at the implication of those things. When we don't give police authority, when you run into problem in that estate, when armed robbers attack that estate, they will be screaming and calling the police to come and protect them. So you cannot ask, because yes, you have, if you live in a gated estate, yes, you have the right to put security in place in your estate, but you cannot stop people, emergency workers, to access your estate. Police, firefighters, ambulances, you cannot stop them from accessing that estate. So when the commissioner waited for some time, trying to tell them that I want to access this place, and they're saying you can't do that. It is unacceptable. He didn't enter until he arrested those guards. That shouldn't have happened, because I will give you an example. I live in Omole Estate. There was a time like that, armed robbers came to the estate in Omole, and my neighbor called me to say, oh, armed robbers is in our estate, and we should try to see those that will call. Incidentally, the same commissioner of police now, Odumosu, was the commander of RRS at that time. It was around 3 a.m. So I called him, and luckily, he picked the call. He picked the call immediately, and I said, oh, there's armed robbers in our estate. And he asked the address, so I had to give the address of my own house. And in about 10 minutes, RRS entered our estate, you understand? And the robbers had to abandon things they were doing. There was 4 units in the places where they were robbed, and they were in the first house. But because they came in, they stayed in my house, so asked me to come out so that I could tell them. I just said, no, go to the next street. The armed robbers and the next street, they are not in my own house, I can't come out. But what I'm saying is that it is the police that were able to save us that night. If, for example, the police people get to the gate, and you are telling them that, look, you cannot access this estate until you call mayor to call us that you have to enter, they won't be able to save those people that were attacked by armed robbers. So we have to look at it. I understand why the chairman of the board of trustees apologized to the guy, because what they did is wrong. You cannot stop the police chief that is in full control. Somebody told me that they said if the president comes to, you cannot tell me that the governor of Lagos State will get to Magodo or Brooks, and you will say no, the governor of Lagos State cannot enter unless you call somebody that will now clear you to enter. No, we can't do that. We can't do that. The police have specific duties to do. It's not there as Mr. Odumosu. It was there as AIG Odumosu, Commissioner of Police. He's doing something that is important to the state. And he needed to see somebody at that party who will give an important information or who will clarify certain things to him. It's possible. So I can understand if they don't know him. But immediately he introduced himself and they saw the convoy with the senior of the Commissioner of Police, and then you now say that, oh, it's our estate, you cannot enter our estate. That is not acceptable.
But looking at the account of the estate, they say that, well, they wouldn't call it insubordination, as the police have described it, overzealousness on the part of the security operatives at the gate. According to the residents, they said the people at the gates were arrested even when they were trying to help the police chief and his retinue locate where exactly he was going to, seeing as it was a social event, and then the police chief took it otherwise, and then they tried pleading with him. The police has also said that even when they arrested those officers, they left one person, and so as not to leave the place, you know, bereft of security, they actually brought in well secured. They brought in officers to come and secure the place with all their gadgets and all that. But this back and forth, this fact that no one actually seems to accept responsibility, and so it leaves more gaps, as you said.
Yeah, you see, what I saw in this episode, as far as I am concerned, is a police authority trying to use its power. Okay, yes, agreed that the police have the right to enter anywhere. Constitutionally, there is even freedom of movement for every Nigerian, even according to our constitution. But then we also know that there are places you get to that you can't enter except to clear yourself, even as a Nigerian. Right? Okay, yes, the police commissioner cannot be compared with an ordinary Nigerian. He has more powers and all of that. If I want to go by the accounts of the residents, like you have rightly explained, the residents said that they actually allowed the police commissioner to go to that party, and they stayed by the gates so that when he's coming back, they could apologize to him, which they did. And when they apologized to him, it was still few another set of security people that were brought to man the gates. If he did that, that was also a display of power by the police commissioner, if that account is true. Because if the residents came to you to apologize for whatever the security operatives could have done wrong, and you still felt that you were embarrassed. And if you look at the statements of the police PRO, it was clearly, the issue of embarrassment was clearly stated, and humiliation, that you cannot humiliate the police commissioner. You cannot embarrass the police commissioner. So what are we talking about here? Is it a case of humiliating a personality, or a case of preventing the police commissioner from performing an official function? Which one are we looking at here? So you could see that more or less me, people that could not recognize my authority, people that refused to allow me to go in based on personal recognition. I had my rider in front of me. I had everything about me. It showed that I was the police commissioner. I don't even have to explain to you that I'm the police commissioner in the first instance. So doing that is like going out of my way to explain to you, and now you refusing to allow me to go in shows that you need to be taught a good lesson. And what reason did they give for arresting the widow and her children? They said for inciting violence and disturbance of public peace. You can imagine that accusations was a true resident of that estate. So what am I saying? Well, I'm trying to say that the police authorities, the police boss, for me, went overboard. More so when the residents association had come around to plead with him, to beg him, to apologize on behalf of the security people at the gates. And I also want to state that these security people that man gates, they can also be overzealous. And as far as they are concerned, they don't even respect anybody aside the management, the estate management that employs them. If you have been to that Magodo Brooks before, you know that their gates are automated. Usually they will ask you where you are going to. I've been there, and when you tell them where you are going, they allow you in. You get it. But I also think, when I'm talking about overzealousness, is because of the kind of retinue of people that probably followed the police boss. He didn't go there alone. You get it? So those security people too, they wanted to show that they were something, that you can't come to our gate and give us order. We have people that are managing us here. I see that, I could sense that from their attitude, which I don't also think is right. But for me, even if the residents were wrong, I expect the police boss to have done differently. Why? Because he's an authority figure. You get it? Whatever he does will be scrutinized, analyzed, and all of that. Just imagining a situation where if the police boss, for example, had waited it through, even to come, and at the end of the day, those security operatives realized that they actually embarrassed such an important...
Not just even the police, and the police boss and his crew,
yes,
but even the estate.
Exactly.
Rules or convention can be challenged and changed depending on the dictates of the circumstances. For the national leader of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it is time for the kingmaker to become the king. Speaking with newsmen at the presidential villa in Abuja on Monday, Tinubu said he has informed President Muhammadu Buhari of his intention to contest the 2023 presidential election. According to Tinubu, there is nothing stopping the kingmaker from becoming the king. Let's hear Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
I can answer that with categorical yes. I've informed the president of my intention, but I've not informed the Nigerians yet. I'm still consulting. And I have no problem consulting, and I've not set a parameter of limitation to the extent of how many people will I consult. You will soon hear, all you want to hear is a categorical declaration. You've gotten that truth from me that I've informed Mr. President of my ambition. He's a Democrat. He didn't ask me to stop. He didn't ask me not to attempt and pursue my ambition. It's a lifelong ambition. I have the confidence, the vision, the capacity to build on the foundation of Mr. President and turn Nigeria better. I've done that with commitment and unyielding, in Lagos State. You've seen that experience and the capacity to turn things around, and that is what we are doing. About the cap of kingmaker, I've never seen the cap of a kingmaker before. Oh, no, that is the truth. And I've never seen where it is written in the rule book anywhere in any country that a kingmaker cannot be a king unless you commit murder. So, whatever is your attribute, is your own opinion. Me, I want to pursue my ambition without the title of a kingmaker. You can write your literature and your story based upon your own perception.
Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu there. Jide, let me come straight to you. Why do you think Asiwaju went to Aso Rock to announce his decision to contest the 2023 presidential election? And what is the significance of that move?
Well, I think first and foremost, that was an act of respect to the president. And the president had become not just Asiwaju's friend, but Asiwaju's project as well. Because everyone knows that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu played a tremendous role, not just in ensuring that the APC and I mean, the ACN and other parties came together to form a mega party that successfully dethroned the PDP. He played a big role in enabling President Buhari to achieve his ambition of ruling Nigeria as a civilian president. The president had tried his best and had lost in 3 elections. I hear people say they rigged the election against him. Mr. President never had the support base in southern Nigeria to win an election. And it's not on record that he won any local government in southern Nigeria before 2015. Asiwaju and others came together, gave him the support to enable him to win. And he has also supported him all through his time as governor, as president. He's always offered him that support. So if there's anyone who should know first that Asiwaju has plans to contest, it has to be the president, whom he supported heavily to become the president of Nigeria. So that was an act of respect, and that was also that so many people are interested from the APC, Rotimi Amechi, even Silva, the minister, so many people, the governor of Kogi State, but no one until now had officially told the president. So that was a calculated move to get the president to be aware of his plans and to also enlist the president's support. And that naturally would have jolted a lot of pretenders and a lot of the people who indeed wanted to contest, because they never saw this coming. I never saw it coming. Asiwaju has a way of surprising people. You know, he's a man of tremendous political proportion and significance. So a lot of the moves that he makes would always shock, titillate, and surprise people. And that's what we have seen. I think that was a master stroke, and that's to be expected, because one of his greatest strengths is in the area of political strategy.
What should Nigeria be looking at for the kind of presidents in 2023? A lot of people will say that, look, that we can't afford to make the mistake we've made in the past. And for the people coming out now, and Asiwaju coming out to declare now, what kind of presidents do we need?
I think at this particular level in the development of Nigeria, I think Nigerians should cast aside all manner of aspirations, all manner of sentiments, and look for the best candidate for the job. Whichever part of the country the country is from, the person must be capable, the person must be visionary, and must be somebody who is a bridge builder, who can bridge Nigeria together, because you will agree with me that the last 7 years have not been so easy in Nigeria. And the person must have a template, an economy program that can change the fortunes of Nigeria, because there is no doubt that we have about 20% unemployment rate now. Our economy has nosedived. The value of our naira has gone from probably 198 in 2015 to 440 naira to the dollar now. So we have to discuss issues, not personalities. Anybody that is coming to rule Nigeria now must come to the table and tell Nigerians, not making promises alone. And Nigerians should subject such a leader, such a contestant, to debate and ask him scientific questions that he has to answer. He has to be put down. Not that he just want to support somebody because he's from area, but because the issue of survival is economic issue, is an issue of survival that is going to affect all parts of Nigeria. So Nigerians should also be interested in somebody who can guarantee the security, the level of security we have in this country. Somebody who has a blueprint for making sure that we have jobs for the unemployed people. Somebody has a policy of making sure that our education that has nosedive, we want to put it right. Because we cannot afford to take a bath in the 21st century.
Now, Jide, finally on this, a lot of people will say the opposition to Bola Tinubu's presidency will start from within the All Progressive Congress before even contesting the main election, that the battle is within the All Progressive Congress. Tell us more.
Yes, of course, that's the starting point. All we want to see is for there to be a level playing field. If Asiwaju is the strongest of the candidates, he will emerge. If there are other candidates stronger than him, of course he will not emerge. But what we want to see is a transparent process, not a desire on the part of power people within the party to stop anyone who wants to contest just because they do not like the person. So there are already a number of candidates, a number of interested persons within his party. I talked about Rotimi Amechi, Silva, even Kaude Fayemi. You know, some want to be deputy to whoever emerges. People like the man with the funny beard, the governor of Jigawa State. If he fancies his chances of becoming vice president to any of the candidates that emerges, he already has his friends amongst them. Maybe eventually he could run on the same ticket with maybe Silva, you know, or even someone else. So there are a number of candidates from the APC, and the APC has all kinds of tendencies. So now we just hope that there will be a level playing field that will ensure that the right candidate emerges.
My brother, my sister, una dey there? Listen, make I clear una well. To win election, no be only say your vote na im plenty pass o. Before person fit win election for we country, the person must win 25% of vote for 2/3 of state plus the FCT for Nigeria. That one na for president. And governor must win the same thing for all local government area for the state. Na so our constitution put am o, and na so all our presido take become presido. All our governors na the same way dem take win. So therefore, my people, our country big no be small o, and we get different language, different religion, ethnic group nko. That one sef dey nyafu. Na why nobody fit think say if you don get north vote, abi south vote, abi east or west vote, e don do. Na lie yo, except you collect vote from all over the country, you just dey bobo yourself. Make una tell everybody, make everybody for know now, make you no for cause fight tomorrow. Na Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO, bring on this message.
One of the key things we have introduced is the Songhai model of farms. So far 18 have been created. The plan is we are going to create one in each senatorial district. They've created that has created about 78,000 direct jobs, and the river basins are also cultivated about 22,000 hectares from that program. For us to be able to attain the sustainable development goals, the federal government and the state government must work together, and that is why we brought out all these programs to support the states. I've mentioned them: the Wash Action Plan, Key Wash Program, the Soil Wash Program now that is being done by the World Bank, the declaration of state of emergency on wash, the wash fund that we are trying to create. All this is federal government effort to ginger the states to be able to do.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
This place will have a recreational park that is designed to make life comfortable. Wellness is key, and we are putting this place that will help people to, keep up on their health, where they could burn their fat. And the timeline for this project is estimated to start and end within 18 months. But however, it starts in phases. The first phase is to get this place secured and gated, which is done.
Mowe is a growing city, and if you are very, very smart, then you realize that the Lagos-Ibadan expressway that is being developed is going to throw Mowe open furthermore.
People that have gone ahead of us have great investment here. And even way in the 90s, even before we talk about coming here. So I think it's a good idea, Iderade coming here.
Country people they talk with one voice. Them say na Asiwaju Bola Tinubu them want as president of Nigeria for this president election.
Asiwaju Bola Tinubu na the man where we all know and see all the good work in they do for the country, especially when him be governor of Lagos State.
Now him got the use turn Lagos to the best state for Nigeria.
Today, many people all over Nigeria they like to go Lagos, go settle down for business and better life.
All because of the good work when Bola Tinubu do.
People of Nigeria, as Asiwaju do for Lagos, now so him ready to do am for the whole country.
Vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu for president of Nigeria. Vote Kashim Shettima as vice president. Vote APC, the party we get a broom.
A popular pidgin palace in Nigeria goes thus: life na turn by turn. Do your own, I do my own. As the country is getting set for another presidential election in 2023, many citizens are clamoring that it is the turn of the South to produce the next leader after President Muhammadu Buhari. The Southern and Middle Belt Leaders Forum has warned that any political party that does not zone its 2023 presidential ticket to the South should not expect support from the region. In a communique issued at the end of its meeting in Abuja, the forum said its position is based on the need to endanger a fair sharing of the power in the country. Isn't that fair enough? But this has always been very topical, especially between the leading parties, the People's Democratic Party and the All Progressive Congress. And even to add another twist to it, instead of some region, some people to bring out their candidates, you are calling on another person not to run, telling them no, you need to step down so that you're not bringing out your own candidate. But what do you make of this?
Well, I've always been an apostle of rotatory presidency, and one of the reasons I quarrel with some of our political leaders was because in 2006 we had the opportunity to take a second look at our constitution and bring in the issue of rotatory presidency. But somehow, because it was suspected at that time that Obasanjo brought the gathering together so that I can use them for tenure elongation, we then decided to throw away the baby with the bathwater. Yes. In fact, as it was conceptualized at that time, in a state, power will be rotated between the three senatorial zones in any state.
In the states?
Yes.
To go to that level?
Yes, that was the plan.
Not that one zone will continue to dominate?
No, that was the plan. And what this means is that even to the minority, the minority can benefit from
you emerge
from political leadership. Look at Delta, for example.
Yes.
No matter what we say about Ibori and other power people in Delta State,
yes,
somehow they've allowed this to go around the three senatorial zones.
Yes.
And not just that, even the minorities, minority in Shekiri have found a way to become governor in that state. So everyone now expects that, okay, by 2023, it goes to the Urobos again.
Yes, because Anioma they're just finishing.
Yes, that's not, you know. So that will make everyone happy. You know that your own turn will come. And if you are able to, you just wait for that time when your own turn, when it will be your turn to produce governor. So the contest will now be within you people to find the most capable person who will represent you people in the true sense of the word and be a good governor. That is coming down to state level. But for our politicians, what they've always believed, even if we do rotatory presidency or whatever, it should not be part of the constitution. It should be the decision of the parties. The parties should, at the level of the parties, they should be able to decide how that will work. But yes, we've done that from time to time. When it is expedient, we allow power to rotate. Obasanjo came in as president in 1999 because the mood at that time, having seen the annulment of June 12th election, the mood in the country did not favor keeping power in the north.
Yes.
So they just felt, okay, the leaders came together, IBB, the man from Guso, and all of them, they came together and said, okay, let's give it to Obasanjo. Yes, that's why it's from, you know, the intelligence man. So, and then it went to Obasanjo. When the people of the Niger Delta too continued to agitate and we couldn't get peace in that area, we couldn't secure peace, what did we do? We looked in the direction of the Goodluck Jonathan as deputy to Yar'Adua. You know, Obasanjo having spent 8 years, you know. So that kind of arrangement.
And when it was his time to even step up to number one.
Yes.
He became number one.
So that kind of arrangement is a good one. No matter how we look at it, I know that people are desperate for power, people who want to contest.
It is now people who always get for merits.
That's when they talk about merit. You know, the other day, because Kwankwaso wants to contest again, he started talking about the need for PDP to not zone this thing to the south, because he wants to have another shake of the dice. But generally, it will give a sense of belonging to everyone. This is what I feel. You know, I may not like the language being employed by those leaders, because I still believe that in politics you have to reach out, you know, across the Niger.
Yes.
So reach out and sell yourself, sell your candidate. You must not use belligerent language that suggests that, look, it is you either give me or you won't have peace. No, that doesn't work in politics. You still have to reach out.
Play the politics.
Play the politics, play it competently, and you will have your way. But I agree that power should be rotated, not just in 2023, we should even make it a way of life here. You know?
Because the people that suggested it, ab initio, they looked at the balance of the country, looking at the diversity, looking at so many things to have come up with that kind of idea. And I think it's a stabilizing factor, so to say.
I think this would not have been a major issue if not because of the fact that, just like I've said, Nigeria is a multi-ethnic, multi-religious society with a lot of diversity, over 300 ethnic groups. That's number one. Then the other one is that between 1966 and 1997, we had 31 years. Out of that, the South, people from the South ruled for only 3.5 years, 9 under the military. And from 1999, we had Obasanjo there. He spent 8 years. He handed over to somebody from the north, if not because of the unfortunate death of Yar'Adua. He would have been there for 8 years. But constitutionally, he needed to hand over to Jonathan. And when he handed over to Jonathan, Jonathan wanted to contest again. And people say, no, you've had 6 years, you need to go. The power must go back to the north. And they had a whole lot of support from the south. From the southwest, people mobilized, people went on social media, and then the power has been in the North now since 2015. Societies are not just governed by laws. They are also governed by reasonable expectation, conventions, morality. What is good, what is bad is bad. After 8 years, it is just normal that power needs to go to the South. So I think it should not even be a subject of debate. You know, if there is reasonable expectation, people should not be debating it. Because I was reading this morning that some people in the North were saying no to, rotation of presidency. They never said it in 2015, and everybody supported them. If there is any attempt to change this pendulum, it's going to re-energize people that are talking about they don't even want to be part of the country and all that. Self-determination. So in order to avoid trouble, people are saying that it's about competence. We have competent people all over the country. Look at what is going on in Borno State. Look at what the governor is doing, even in the midst of conflict and everything.
Crisis.
The way you have very good people in Borno State, you have very excellent people in Imo State, you have excellent, is best. Every local government can give you a good leader. So I think we should not overstress this issue, and I don't think any attempt should be made to change. So I think the decision of the groups is a reflection of what their people really want.
All right, joining us via Zoom for more discussion on this is the former presidential candidate of the People's Coalition Party, PCP, Dr. Nicholas Felix, all the way from the United States. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and it's so good to hang out with you guys this beautiful Sunday afternoon.
Okay. I guess it's morning there. So
yes, it's morning here right now.
All right, Dr. Nicholas Felix, I want to get your point of view on this rotational presidency, the agitation for rotation of the Nigerian presidency.
All right. First of all, before we go to the issue of rotation, we must know that power rotation or zoning is not constitutional. It violates Section 131 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. However, even though we know it's not constitutional, for the sake of equity, we have to discuss it. We have to talk about it. The South and the Middle Belt, especially the Middle Belt, I don't think there should be clamoring for power to be shifted to them at this point. I think the only people who should be clamoring is purely the South. If you look at it very well, the Middle Belt has had about 19 years of power in office. They've had their fair share. They have their chance to make an impact in the lives of their people. But for now, I think all we should be clamoring about is power shifting to the South. Now, I love one of the points my brother made over there. It should be purely the North and the South on federal level. If we're talking about the presidency, we should focus on the North and the South. Now that the power has been shifted to the South, the key thing should be who among in the South, is it the Southwest, Southeast, or the South-South? I think the only people who should be agitating, people who should be clamoring that is their turn for them to be in office should be the Southeast. But unfortunately, they are currently distracted with the issue of Biafra. And power will not just be handed over to you. Let's make that very clear. Nobody is going to hand over power to you because you think you are entitled to it. It has to be fought for. You have to work for it based on merit. But since they are being distracted, I think it's the time of the South-South to be able to get into power come 2023. And that's where we come in. While we're in this same issue, let's not forget about the fact that even though we're talking about power being shifted to the South, we should also focus on the fact that it's time for the youth to take over, not just for to be respectful to them. I'll call them our fathers who are of great age. They should be able to leave office and let the youth continue.
As part of what we do with the climate change initiative is to issue what we call the Nigeria Sovereign Green Bond, targeted only at projects that are green in nature, where they support our net zero targets. We've already issued the first tranche and the second tranche. We're about to issue the second sovereign green bond of about 50 billion naira now. So let me say that part of what we want to do as our clean energy goals, is essentially to focus one, in collaboration with the Ministry of Power and Ministry of Petroleum, to modernize the power sector with large-scale integration of the renewables, enhance energy efficiency and conservation.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Everyone has a Chivita this season. What's your Chivita? How important is comfort to you? Is it as important as the day you discovered that self-love is the start of good life? Here is a comfort that your self-love, Iderade. Transit into your serenity. The opportunity awaits you on this peace of mind as you pay in installments of 24 months with initial deposit of 500,000 naira. Serenity at its finest.
Life is self-expression in your own space, in your own way. And when you've got your whole life ahead of you, your style simply becomes your attitude. And at the right time, you step out to bring more of you right into your space. Welcome to the world of Vento Furniture.
Think home, think Vento Furniture.
Now, politics returns to the front burner, and specifically in Ekiti State ahead of the June 18 governorship election there. The All Progressives Congress APC has conducted its governorship election primaries. Biodun Oyebanji, a former secretary to the state governor, Kayode Fayemi, polled 101,703 votes to beat other contenders in the race. Closest rival, Senator Okpayemi Bamidele, scored 760 votes, while Dayo Adeyeye polled 691. Now, the exercise was supervised by Governor Mohammed Badaru of Jigawa State, who was election committee chairman. Obviously, 7 of the contestants are aggrieved, but they have inalienable right to appeal the verdict. How much argument does one have against a fraud? The outcome was as predicted on the program last Tuesday. Let's go back. Let's take you back there.
In the case of the APC, there are 168,752 delegates. People eligible to vote. It's direct primaries, but this direct primary only card-carrying members of the party validated by the party. You can be card-carrying
after that
and not be validated. So only those validated by the party can vote. And it's already known, 168,752 people will vote. Former SSG Biodun Oyebanji, who is from Ikogosi. That's the candidate to beat.
Yes, that's the candidate to beat. That's the candidate of the government.
When you see what we call the body perfume and the body language,
all the apparatus of the party,
and all the structures of government yielding for a particular aspirant, except you are new in politics and Nigerian democracy, you know, he is there. He is obviously the man to beat.
Jide, but quickly, let's talk about it. We saw this coming. We saw the result coming.
Yes.
Is he a popular choice or the choice of the governor?
the choice of the governor, but the governor has found a way to get a lot of his supporters, a lot of his aides, a lot of the people who benefit from him one way or another at the grassroots and even at state level to support him. You know, governors create agencies, boards here and there, they service those agencies, yes. At the end of the day, that is what some people call structure. In a local government, for example, you see people that the governor has empowered, created all kinds of avenues by which those people can get maybe 60,000 per month and all that. Those ones who feel beholden to the governor, they will feel obligated to support him. If he brings a candidate, when the time comes, if he brings a candidate, they will support, you know. And when we are talking about this kind of primaries, the party ESCO at what level, at local government level, they are always in the thick of action. They are the ones who mobilize at that level. And these are people installed by the governor, you know. So it's going to be difficult, and that was why over 2 days we said this guy was going to win. It's not a surprise at all.
Mayor, so we are not surprised that 7 other contenders are belly aching.
It's
we are not surprised.
It's understandable. In political contests, those who did not win will always have a reason for saying why they lost. But I don't know. The only person that I pity is Senator Bamidele, because Senator Bamidele, if you remember, got shot, though accidentally, during the campaign of Fayemi, and you will expect that Fayemi will want to pay him back by supporting him. But politics don't go that way. Politics is not about emotions.
There are calculations in politics.
It's not about emotion, it's about interest. And I know that Bamidele is very, because I know him very well. Senator Bamidele is somebody that has been in politics for a long time, you know. So he knows that it will be foolhardy for anybody to think that any governor worth his salt will not impose his own candidate when he's leaving.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. Introducing the new Pressure King Pro from ShopX TV. The amazing 14-in-1 digital pressure cooker that saves you time and money. Want to cook proper meals but can hardly find the time? We all have busy schedules, but hurried lifestyles means meals on the run, maybe even whole weeks with too much processed or fast foods. The amazing ShopX 14-in-1 digital pressure cooker cooks up to 90% faster than conventional appliances. And because it cooks so much faster, you're not just saving time, but saving money too. Cooking a whole chicken in the Pressure King Pro could use up to 6 times less electricity than the average oven, saving you time and cash. This delicious